Let's talk about fall maintenance for your natural pond. What do you need to do in the fall? Well, if we have a look at my pond here, you'll notice that I have some elephant ears growing. And these were planted quite late, so they're not that large this year. But these are not hardy in my Zone 5 garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this pot out, and quite honestly, I'm going to throw these away. Because these aren't real elephant ears. These are bulbs that I got from the grocery store. And they only cost me about 56 cents a bulb. So there's no point in overwintering them. Now, if you're growing real elephant ears, I have a separate video that will show you how to overwinter those. Those are worth keeping. I have another plant back here that's in a pot, but it's hardy. So what I will do is I will simply lower it to the bottom of the pond. This pond's not very deep. It's maybe a foot and a half. And I'll try to get it under the ice layer so it survives a little bit better. Over here on the other side of the pond, I have a water lily. And it's about this far below the water, and it's quite hardy. So I can just leave that where it is. Now, the other thing I like to do in the fall is I like to scoop out all of the floating algae, if you have any, and the duckweed. Now, this is a fairly new pond, so I do have algae in it. I will scoop out the hair algae, and I'll just throw it into my garden. It'll decompose there and help feed the other plants. I wasn't supposed to end up on the rocks though, it's supposed to go in the garden. By taking the algae out, I'm removing nutrients from the pond. I'll have less nutrients next year and less algae next year. That was a better throw. The other reason to take out any organic matter that's settled in here is that it starts decomposing in the fall, and it actually uses up oxygen. So if you do have some fish in here or some dragonfly nymphs, they need that oxygen to survive the winter. So we want to get all the organic matter out. The other reason is that that organic matter starts decomposing and adds nutrients back into the water. Clean it out with a net, but you don't have to get every last bit. You won't get it all. Just get most of it, use it as compost or put it on your garden, and that's about it. There isn't much else to do. If you're using hardy water lilies, just leave them where they are. If you put in hardy plants, which is what I suggest, they will overwinter naturally. Now, if you have some tropical water lilies, you do have to take those out. They don't like to get too cold. And I have a post on my blog called gardenfundamentals.com. And it shows you exactly what to do with hardy water lilies. If you have fish in the pond, you can probably leave them in the pond. The cold in Zone 5 will not harm the fish. What will kill fish is if the ice covers the pond for too long. So what some people do is they put in a small heater or a small bubbler. So what I do is I have a small aquarium pump, and I run that during the cold parts of the winter. And that bubbling is just enough to leave a hole in the ice. And if you have that, there's air exchanging, the CO2 gets to come out of the water, and the fish will be fine. And that's really all there is to it. You don't have to do very much. In fact, to be honest, in my large pond, I don't even scoop the leaves out in the fall. They've been accumulating now for 14 years, and there's quite a bit of muck at the bottom, and the pond is still fine every year. In that pond, I do run a bubbler to keep the fish alive. One of the great things about these natural ponds is that they're really very little work once they get established. You have to have enough plants growing to keep the algae down, and that's it. After that, I just top it up if we don't get enough rain. Anyways, it's time that you get a natural pond in your backyard, and they're fairly easy to build. This one right here is not very big. I can almost reach the other side, and there's a frog sitting right there. And there's about another 10 frogs that live in this pond. There's dragonflies that come here. The birds come for a drink, and it's very little work. It's time to add one to your garden. And to help you, I've written a book called Building Natural Ponds. It tells you everything you need to know about building a pond like this. It goes through the design phase, then it shows you how to build it, and then the last section shows you how to maintain it. It'll help you with everything, picking the right kind of liner, figuring out if you need a liner, helping you select plant and fish. If you're interested in that book, click on the little icon of the book and I'll take you to my website with lots of information. It is available on Amazon. Happy ponding!